Hey everyone, thanks for coming to my talk. We're going to talk about some social engineering today. A lot of times when we go to social engineering talks, we hear clips that sound like this.
Christy. Hi, Christy. I'm Julie from the consulting group, and I'm working with Beth in the office.
Oh,
and
yeah,
we're
fine.
putting together, and we're putting together a consolidated payroll site since there's some variety across the locations.
Yeah.
And so we're asking a few people to go to the site and log in and give us some feedback on it. Do you think you have a couple minutes?
Cool. I have a couple minutes. I'm actually having to leave in a couple minutes for a doctor's appointment. So
this should be pretty fast.
Quickly, I should be fine. Okay.
Okay, awesome.
So does it matter what browser I use?
No, it shouldn't.
Okay, I've got Chrome up right now, so I can type something in if you're ready. Or is it web-based? How do I get to it?
It's web-based, yeah. So you're just going to open up a browser.
Okay, I'm there.
And go to www.payroll, payroll.net / and then another slash, and that's it.
Okay. www.payroll, yes, I just got a company screen.
And you have, does it say payroll portal in the middle with login?
Yes, it does.
Oh, perfect. That's that's right where I was hoping you'd end up.
Oh, no, no, when that's that easy.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, really?
Me too.
What was your name again? I didn't catch it when you called.
Julie. I'm Julie.
Julie, great. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. And so just enter your regular username and password. So this should work just like, our single sign-on and log in and with any luck.
Well, it says this web page is not available, but I'm not entirely sure which login you need.
Seriously?
Well, they
told me that was
network. Well, let me try. I just tried my employee number, so let me try my network login and see.
Okay.
Nope, it didn't like either one of those.
No, neither one, huh? Okay.
No.
Yeah, okay. Well, so this is going to be really quick then.
That's all right. You're halfway there.
Yeah, well, at least we have the login page, I guess. So I guess I need to go talk to my developer.
Okay, sounds good. I do the same thing, so I know right where you're sitting.
Okay. All right, well, thank you so much for your time. I hope you have a great weekend.
Okay, you too.
All right, thanks a lot.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, how many people who thought that sounded like that was awfully easy? Right? And so a lot of talks that we go to have clips that sound like this, and sometimes it is. I mean, that I only edited for extra phone rings, and I mean, this one really was this straightforward. But a lot of times we don't talk about all the work that goes into calls ending up like this. This wasn't the first thing that I did for this engagement. So today we're going to talk about a case study of an engagement that I did, and this was one of the calls from that, and how all the things that happen on the way to a call that works like that. And so, who am I? I'm Jen Fox. I'm a senior security consultant with VioPoint. I'm a lock sport nerd. The blindfolded lock picking competitions are my favorite. If you want to learn how to pick locks, please go visit the Lockpick Village. It's really good, and they love to teach. Also this year at DEF CON, I won the black badge for the SECTF competition. And so now we're going to talk about a case study. How many people in the room do pen testing of some sort? So, a few people. All right, so we'll talk about some of the elements of that. First thing is that you have an objective of some sort, and for this engagement, the objective was to try to obtain network credentials and or sensitive information through the use of social engineering techniques, specifically phone calls and emails. And of course, providing value for the client. Anytime we do an engagement like this, it's, we're trying to either let the client know things that they're not aware of in their environment, to help them fix it so that it isn't a bad guy making that phone call. The scope for this engagement was that the client provided all of the names, emails, and phone numbers that we were allowed to contact. So on the one hand, it might sound like, sweet, that was really, that's pretty easy then. And a lot of times when we do social engineering pen tests, it's more of a black box type scenario where we have to go and find our own employee names, phone numbers, emails, and kind of figure it out for ourselves. And that means two things. One is that it's a little more work up front that way, but also we get to pick and choose. So I can cherry pick then either areas to focus on or areas to avoid. And in this case, the problem this presented for me was that I don't get to pick and choose, and this list that was given were people who were scattered all through the company. So they were in different departments, different locations, different levels. So there were no obvious groups, and I didn't have an infinite number of pretexts I could do. We had to figure something out and be able to do a good test. And we need something, always for social engineering, you want something that's credible in order for it to be effective. And we always have limited time. We only have, a few days or what have you to actually execute the test. So where do you start? You want to accomplish things. So there's a process. So if you're a good guy social engineer or a bad guy social engineer, we all use some version of this process. So we already talked about the goals and requirements, network credentials, and phone or fish, and a particular group of people. From there, we do research, find out what we can find out about the company, and gather data. Once we've gathered information, then we do analysis. Figure out, well, what does that mean? I've gathered a bunch of data points. What does it mean? And where do I see opportunities for social engineering exploit? And what am I actually going to do? What pretext will I use? From there, you attack, phone up, send an email, show up, whatever it is you're doing. And then it works or it doesn't work. So if it doesn't work, then you kind of figure out what you learned, because even in failing or getting busted on a call or an in-person thing, you've learned something else about the environment that maybe you can use for a subsequent try. And of course, if you succeed, then if you got network credentials, for example, perhaps you go on to try to move through the environment with those. So research, we already had our goals and objectives. Next step is to do some research. And there are plenty of tools that'll help you gather data. Maltigo is one example. It's not a requirement, though. There's a lot of things that are readily available that will help you find all kinds of information about a company. Google is way up top. LinkedIn, that was one I used extensively for this engagement. It never fails to provide us good information about the technology in an environment. That's what IT people do. It's how IT people get their next job, is by letting other people know what technologies they've done, what kinds of implementations and upgrades they've worked with. You also find out more information about people, what kind of projects have they done while they've been at their company. Glassdoor, good source of job postings, as well as you may find interview questions. You may also find employee reviews and get some insight into the environment and how people feel about working there. Iconosquare. I didn't use this for this specific engagement, but Iconosquare, if you're not familiar with it, is a Instagram aggregating site. And so if you want to see what kinds of things people in your environment are Instagramming, really check out Iconosquare. As a tangent, for the DEF CON SECTF in the research phase, I found 21% of my flag evidence via Iconosquare, that it had all been on photo sharing sites. It was all kinds of information I found about the environment. So it's important to check that out, especially if you're responsible for an environment. People, I found countless badge photos as well. That's a thing people do. So it's important to educate them. Facebook, Twitter, other social media, that's always good to look at. A company Facebook site can show you pictures of maybe different company events or parties. You can see how people dress in the environment, what kinds of, it gives you something that, if it's timely, something you can reference on a call. Company website is always good. You learn about the principles of the company, like the leadership. You can find out different things that are going on. You can find usually company logos, which are great to use for emails or websites or things you want to look credible. Inappropriately exposed documents. So using some Google searching to look for documents that may be inappropriately exposed on the client's company site. There might be call lists available. There might be org charts and that stuff that is gold to the social engineer. Vendor case studies. These figure into almost every social engineering engagement I do. There's always a vendor that's proud of their work and wants to showcase it, and they give a lot of details about the old cruddy system that they helped upgrade and replace and help make everything more efficient. So you can learn a lot through vendor case studies. And of course the news, either on the company website or local, or sometimes national or international news, depending. Hopefully not, but you can see what's going on with the company. So do research. After gathering a whole bunch of data, that's really all it is data. And you have to look through it and decide for yourself what it means. So in this case, I saw that this company had grown through merger and acquisition, which is not unusual at all. And I knew that because the company website had news about that, and also local media from that company's area had information about that as well. And so that was one thing that I decided was an interesting point. And the other thing that I inferred through my information was that there would be a lack of integration of the back-end systems. So one, because I'd been given all of the information, the contact information, I had the email addresses. I could see that the domains for the email addresses were different. There were several different ones mapping to the original companies. Also, through research, noted that there were multiple service providers, sometimes for the same function. So that was a clue. And then finally, 20 years of time in IT tells me that even though in IT and InfoSec, we think that it's really important that if I'm a company and I buy another company, of course I want to bring all of their information and systems kind of into the fold of stuff that I already understand and hopefully protect well. And it's a straightforward idea, but often very complicated in execution, and that it's hard for a lot of companies to do that. So I figured odds were really in my favor that a bunch of stuff on the back end did not hang together. So, given that, and going back to, I still don't have an obvious grouping of people, except for the fact they all work for the same company. They're scattered all over the place. So, what am I going to do? Well, there's one thing that all of us care about, no matter how we feel about our jobs. There's something that we all expect to be there and happen consistently. Lack of integration in the back-end systems, And I figured payroll. Payroll is the way to go. That's something everybody on that list was going to care about. And odds were in my favor that they would not have it integrated. So that's the direction that I chose to go with this exploit. So for this, we found a website for one of the service providers, one of the several service providers for this company, and spoofed the website. And most payroll service providers have some sort of a portal login. Probably a lot of you use or have used sites like this to go log your time. And so we spoofed it, but then there were certain things that we left intact. So first we had you've got the company logo, you've got the service logo, you've got the hey, contact us stuff down at the bottom, and come talk to us on social media. And all of those on the spoofed site, that was all left intact. And it was left intact. So if you clicked the Payroll Co. logo, you'd go to their site. And we did this for two reasons. One, it's easier. Two, something that I know and bad guy social engineers know is that we teach people that if we hover over something, we should look at the URL to see what it's connected to. And so by leaving those intact, it lends more credibility to the website. So if people are kind of checking to see, is this legit, this helps it look legit. Now the middle part was the part that we altered. So I added the company logo. Wait, there's no way. Oh, there we go. The company logo, which was helpfully provided right on the company website, and that helps it look legitimate. This is the right place. So that helps it check out in people's minds. There's our request to please use your corporate username and password and log in. So when somebody actually enters their information and clicks login, it goes to a little database that we had instead of actually logging them in. And it would present an error message saying that, oh, something's not working with the site right now. Please try again later. And what's more credible than a website not working? Unfortunately. So we had this all set up. Next, there was a general fish that we sent out, and it is, we say that it's from the HR and benefits team, and again, we've got the company logo to make it look credible. We have a link to the website we want them to go to, and then the important part was that we have the enticement of the $50 Visa gift card. Because who doesn't like those? Everyone's busy. We all know everybody's busy, and we're asking them to do an extra thing, but now they get the carrot of if you provide feedback on the website, you can be entered to get a $50 Visa gift card. And we had people who attempted logging in multiple times with multiple configurations. Like, oh, well, this version of my ID didn't work. I better try this one. Because they want the gift card. So we did a campaign of the general fish. We also did some targeted fishes with this. And same, from the HR and benefits teams, got the company logo, so that's all the same thing. But then because I had the list of specific individuals who were targeted for this, the one advantage that gave me is it made sense to spend some time on LinkedIn and find out about them. So in this case, here's somebody that we know is a long-time associate of the company. This person's been there a long time. So I can reference that. And also I know what department this person has worked in for a long time, so I can reference that. And it makes it, again, just look more convincing. So that was a second element. So then the third thing we do, so we collected a bunch of credentials with the emails, and then we did the phone calls. So we heard one earlier, and now knowing what you know, let's listen to another one.
Thanks for calling. How may I help you?
Hi there. Is this Antonio?
It is indeed.
Hi, Antonio. I'm Julie, and I'm from the consulting group, and I'm working with Beth to put together a consolidated payroll site. And so we were having a
payroll site.
Yep. So across all your different locations, there's a little variety across all your locations right now. So we're putting together a consolidated one. We're asking a few people to go to the site and log in and take a look and let us know what you think. So do you have a few minutes to go to the site and check it out for me?
Sure. What's the...
It is payroll, that's all one word, payroll.net/.
Okay.
And then you should see a little portal site.
Try this.
I'm sorry this is taking so long. Yes, and do you see a login?
Got it. Payroll portal. Employees use your corporate username and password.
Perfect.
What are you doing when you get to this point?
So now use your regular username and password like you normally use, and it should take you to our new site. So we have it hooked up.
The page is temporarily unavailable. Please try again later.
Okay. So I guess it's just the end of the week. So I'm sorry. I'm obviously going to have to call my developer and find out what's going on with the website. So once I have it fixed, is it okay if I call you back later on or maybe next week to try again?
Well, I'm here till 4:45 today, and then of course you can call it back anytime.
Okay.
Today
all right. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Great. Thanks. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Thanks. Bye.
This one I actually had to edit quite a bit because it took a ton of troubleshooting to get him to the right page, which is why I said, I'm sorry this is taking so long, but he really hung in, which worked for me. So, yeah. So let's talk about, now that you know more the backstory, let's talk about the pretext a little bit. I say that I'm from a certain consulting company. That was right off of a vendor case study I found. So I was using the name of a real company that had really done work for this client. And they had done work that kind of fell in line with the thing that I was putting forth. So that was one element of it. The other was that in both calls I dropped the name of somebody, and that was this person is the head of HR, and she was thanks to LinkedIn and a really great summary on her LinkedIn profile. I knew that she was well known for doing efficiency projects, and what would be more efficient than just getting everybody on one payroll site? So it's very plausible for what she was known for and her position. And when I chose who to call with this pretext, it was I called people who were not her peer, but people who I could reasonably expect would know who she was. Either people who worked in the same facility or maybe a similar function but not in that facility. So people who would not necessarily be, they wouldn't be hanging out with her or having lunch. So time's almost up. So what we heard were, we had goals and requirements. We did research in GrrCON, found a bunch of information. Did analysis to figure out what that meant and where there might be a toehold for information or for an exploit. We figured something out and executed. And in this case, it worked. We did meet our objectives. And in this case, we did not pivot, but we did meet our objectives and helped provide the client with good feedback about some changes that could be made in the environment to help them with this. And that's pretty much it. I will be around today, and if you have any questions, you can send me an email or hit me up on Twitter. And that's about it. And anybody who's already here, if you want to understand more deeply the research and analysis part of this process, I encourage you to stay for the next talk by Ninja Sloth, where he goes into a lot of detail about how that works. Thanks a lot. Thank you for your